The new Black Rose Dragon support is here, but is it top tier? Let's find out. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are taking a look at the new Rose Dragon support. If you don't know, Rose Dragon has had several support now, but it centers around, of course, Black Rose Dragon, Akiza's Signer Dragon for the 5Ds anime, Akiza, or Aki in the sub, or Japanese I should say, was one of the main characters within the 5Ds anime, and she finally has some actual cards to play with, or a modernized version of the deck. Modernized. That being said, it still centers around some of the older support cards, that being the Rose Dragons, which all happen to be dragons, which does matter substantially for this deck. But with that being said, we're just going to hop into the card by card and the explanation. Again, it centers around Black Rose Dragon and summoning Black Rose. You can use things like Bramble Rose Dragon in order to special summon it, or synchro summon it specifically, on the opponent's turn, so that you can nuke the field. It's pretty solid, but yeah, let's just go through the card by card. Starting off with the Rose Dragons, we have Red Rose, which when used as synchro material can summon another one from deck. Another Rose Dragon, I should say. Rocks Rose, which on special adds, or on normal or special, adds a Black Rose Dragon card, a card that mentions it, from deck to your hand. And then on top of that, if sent, while this card is in the grave, if a plant synchro monster is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add it to the hand. Pretty nice. We have Red or White Rose Dragon, which on normal can special summon a Rose Dragon from hand or grave. And then on top of that, you can special summon it if you control a Dragon Tuner or a Plant Tuner, and if used as synchro material, you can send a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the grave. The plant monster we are to send is Vengeful Witch. Vengeful Witch says, if sent to the graveyard and a synchro material or a synchro monster is on the field, you can discard a card in order to special summon a plant with 1500 or less defense from your deck, and then you're locked into synchros. The one we are summoning here is Twilight Rose Black Dragon, which on summon reborns a guy, and then you can modulate the level of a plant, which is pretty solid. As for the rest of the cards in here, we are playing additional ways to see guys, basically, that we can do something with. So we're playing the Kashtiras, notably because we have level 3 tuners, and Baron is a level 10. You see the point. So we have Fenris, Unicorn, and the associated spells for it. We also have a few other interesting cards in here. First and foremost, the new Black Rose Garden, which is not the other Rose Garden. If I could find it. Hold on. It's not this one. It's not Black Garden. Not Rose Garden. Black Garden. This is Black Rose Garden, which says, when it's activated, add a Rose Dragon from deck or grave to the hand. And on top of that, it makes everything a plant monster. All face-up monsters are plant monsters. If it's destroyed, it inflicts battle damage. Or, not battle damage. It inflicts effect damage to the opponent based on the number of plants in your grave and or banishment. And if it's destroyed by Black Rose, specifically, it deals an additional 24. That is pretty much it. It's mostly useful for the search and, of course, the actual making everything a plant, because there's a lot of cards in here that specifically want plants. So being able to change your attributes of the Rose Dragons into plants is very useful. Notably, the new Bramble Rose Dragon specifically requires a plant tuner and a non-tuner monster, which is very nice. So that's nice. We're also playing a few other plant things. Spore, Fairy Ant, which special summons itself. Cyclos, which can special summon itself from grave, and on summon searches a plant tuner, which is pretty solid. We're also playing the other field spell, White Rose Cloister, which can special summon a Rose Dragon if you control no monsters, or a plant monster from your hand. And then on top of that, during the draw phase, you can instead declare a card type to reveal the top card, and if it's the declared type, apply this effects for the rest of the turn. You just gain some attack. It's mostly used for the basically additional normal summon, as I'll call it. So if you draw an additional Rose Dragon, you can special summon another Rose Dragon. Realistically, cut this card. This card's terrible. Put something else in here. But I ended up playing it for the entire time, and I don't know, it helped. Oh, sorry. One other card. We're also playing Stay Sailor Romarin, which, when sent to the graveyard, sends another plant. Notably, you would send things like Cyclos, or you would send something like Spore. That's it. If you're wondering why we're playing Spore and not Glow Up Bulb, the reasoning for it is because Spore specifically has the ability to modulate its level, which matters a lot for some of the cards in the extra deck. However, you could still play Glow Up Bulb, and it's arguably better. I did a bit of testing with both, or having both, I should say. And for the most part, I didn't notice too much of a difference between a Glow Up Bulb and Spore. So, there you go. At least in regards to quality, right? Spore has the ability to modulate its level, making it more applicable across more synchros. But Glow Up Bulb is more consistent to give you access to an additional 7, or just pretty much anything. So, again, it's give and take. As for the rest of the cards, we are also playing Basil Rose Shoot, which can special summon a guy from grave or hand. We have Frozen Rose, which is just a search target mostly, but it also has the ability to potentially add a card or draw cards. It's okay. And then we have the non-engine 3 Ash, 3 Triple Tack, and 3 Imperm. That's pretty much it. The rest is engine. I'm also playing Called By. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple. Garden Rose Maiden, which can banish itself to reborn a Rose Dragon or a Dragon Synchro monster from your grave. We also have 2 Rage Rose, which is part of the new support, which says plant monsters can't be destroyed by card effect, period, which means that even if you were to use your own Black Rose Dragon, your plants are protected, including any of them that are changed off of Black Rose Garden, which is something. On top of that, on Synchro, you can send a plant from deck and extra deck to the grave, notably allowing you the ability to either send a Bramble Rose to the grave to potentially reborn one of your Rose Dragons. You can just banish it, summon a Rose Dragon, level 4 or lower plant tuner, wrong thing. Or you can send the Rose Maiden, which then would reborn as well. We're playing 2 Black Rose Dragon as well as 2 Bramble Rose, which notably this does have multiple effects on it, of course, but each time an opponent's monster effect resolves, basically, you can inflict 600 to the opponent. And then on top of that, and also monsters your opponent controls currently lose 600 attack. And then on top of that, you contribute it in order to synchro summon a Black Rose from the extra. Now, while this is a quick effect, you do have to keep in mind that this is a when effect on the synchro summon to nuke the field, meaning that if you were to synchro summon it as Chainlink 2 or higher, utilizing the effect of the Bramble Rose, it would miss timing and not be able to blow up the field. So make sure you synchro summon it prior to that, on Chainlink 1, basically in an open board state. Otherwise, you don't get to blow up the field. As for the rest of the cards, we have F.A. Dawn Dragster, we have Empress, which reborns a guy. We have Circle of the Fairies, which is an extra normal. We have Crystal Wing Synchro, we have Baron, we have Ching-Ying, we have Chaos Angel, and we have Jirai, which this is a card that you probably don't know. It's a level 11 generic tuner that says during the opponent's turn, you can pay 1,500 in order to tribute this card, and then either nuke the opponent's face-up monsters or nuke their face-up spell traps, either or. It's fairly useful, but it also increases your life points. And it's a big guy. So there's that. You could also play Pep if you want. That's it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alrighty, here we are going second. Let's see what we can accomplish. We actually drew a pretty solid going second hand. Fenris, Triple Tack, Ash. It's pretty good. My opponent is going to start off here with Sage, and I'm just like, I'll just fire the Ash. Here's the thing. There are so many ways for them to get access to Maiden, and for the most part, I want to cut them off of the ability to do that. If they have Maiden already, or if they have another way of getting Maiden already, it doesn't really matter. The main idea is to cut them off of Maiden, cut them off of additional tuners and stuff like that. So that was the general idea. It ended up working out here, but yeah, sometimes they just have it. There's not really anything that you can do about that, right? Because, sure, you could Ash the what have you, the spell, right, that like discards a card, but at that point it kind of doesn't matter, right? So just Ash the Sage. That was my idea, especially if they're starting with it. Anyway, We're going to go for the Fenris here. They're going to activate the True Light just to immediately set Majesty for some reason. Sure. We're going to activate Fenris. We're going to grab to the hand the Unicorn, and then we're going to normal summon the Rox Rose. Rox Rose is going to grab the Black Rose Garden. Black Rose Garden is effect is going to activate to grab the White Rose, and then we're going to special summon Vengeful Witch from the hand as well as the White Rose. We're going to use the Vengeful Witch to go into the Bramble Rose, which then pitches a card after it's been used for Synchro Material to summon out the Twilight Rose. Twilight Rose is going to reborn the Vengeful Witch, and then we're going to modulate the effect of, or modulate the level of the White Rose Dragon, so that we can use it as Synchro Material for Rage Rose Dragon. Here we get to activate the effects in chain, so that they cannot negate via the Spirit Dragon. So they're going to go for the Red Rose, the Rage Rose, as well as the Synchro Material guy. Anyway, we dump a bunch of guys. Now we can go into Chaos Angel, which happens to be a plant due to this thing, which does trigger the Cyclos, as well as the Chaos Angel, banishing the True Light. My opponent is then electing to go for the Spirit Dragon, which is a choice. Look, I don't know why we're doing this, but okay, sure. Anyway, we're going to go, the Bramble Rose is going to activate here, or result. Deal them 600 damage. That's what's happening there. We're going to go special summon the Cyclos here, which then gets to pitch a card in order to search out a plant tuner. And my opponent is going to Nibiru here, which is something. Yeah, that's pretty good. Away goes the entire field. Wow, okay. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal. Here's why. Even with the Nibiru, we still have the ability to summon out the Circular Sorcerer, and we have the Rose Maiden in the grave to special summon the Bramble Rose Dragon, and now we can, because we have a light monster, go into Spore. Spore then has the ability to modulate in order to go into the Perialis Empress of the Blossoms, which then can reborn one of our guys, going into the Rage Rose Witch. Now, this I don't think technically matters because we get to take here anyway, but generally speaking, this is a pretty solid ability, right? Just being able to reborn there. Obviously, we didn't need it for the additional damage, but at the very least, it was nice. So there you go. Good game nonetheless. And notably, we could also have gone into a Black Rose there. So we could actually just go Black Rose and then nuke the field if we really wanted to. So there you go. Alrighty, here we are once again going second, and our hand is, I mean, Triple Tech is always a good going second card, and it's Millennium, which is actually pretty good for us because we do have the Triple Tech. So if we can bait out the Spell Trap Negate, we might have something here. My opponent's going to go for the Unstoppable Exodia, activate the effect, go for the Exod, Fires of Rage, pass the turn. Alrighty, let's see what we can accomplish here. That is probably the best draw we could have had. We're going to go for the Wraith South. They're going to go for the Ash Blossom. Great, we're going to activate the Called By. They are going to promptly negate. Okay, they will negate our Wraith South. That's fine. They're going to special summon a guy. We're going to go triple attack take. At this point, the game is pretty much over because we get to do the full combo. We're going to go for the Red Rose Dragon here, special summon the White Rose, and then go into F8 Dawn Dragster. We're going to synchro summon and special summon two guys here. Special summon a guy and send a guy. We're going to go for the Rox Rose here, and my opponent concedes at this point. Reasonable. Yeah, triple attack's crazy right now. Alrighty, here we are going second once again. I swear, we're not a deck that wants to go second, and I just happen to do better going second. Or at least the games were more interesting, I should say. Most of the time, once I summoned Baron, people would just leave. Anyway, it's Umi. They're gonna Ash here. That's fine. Cool. I think I draw here off of the triple attack because I literally don't have anything here. If you're looking at this hand and being like, wow, you got stuff here, I have nothing. None of this does anything. This is one of the biggest issues with this deck, is that your hands can be really bad in a way that is like very frustrating, right? Because this hand is so close to being playable. If you had the ability to like summon Vengeful Witch and use it as synchro material, would be pretty good. Or just like have a synchro monster, like you could summon Romarin or something of that nature, right? And White Rose, but then like those levels aren't right. I don't know. There's a lot of bricks in here is basically what I'm saying. Anyway, we're going to go for the Fenris. We're going to normal summon the White Rose because I'm stupid and I don't summon the Romarin, which is what I should have summoned. But it's fine because my opponent's going to send the Umi to the graveyard and then they're going to summon a whole bunch of guys, which don't do anything. Now, here's the thing. Theoretically, they should do stuff, but they don't. Why? Because this card says, while there is no face-up field spell the field is treated as Umi. I have a field spell. I just randomly have a field spell. So, yeah, they don't have an Umi on the field, which is very funny. I'm going to attempt to banish the Kairi Shin, which is fine. They're going to Imperm, negating the Fenris. Sure, we're just going to walk into the guy, and then walk into another guy. Just pass the turn. I'm under Droll. I can't really search anything. We're just kind of stuck. Anyway, my opponent is going to activate the Umi. Wow, they just hard drew the Umi. Anyway, they're going to search here, and I'm like, that's fine. We're going to banish the Umi. They banish, or rebanish the Umi. Out comes Anemone. They're going to activate the effect of the Anemone, bring back the guy that doesn't do anything, and pass the turn. And, I mean, yeah, Fenris. Fenris control. Yeah, I literally won this off of Fenris. This is why we're playing the Kashtira cards, because, man, are they overpowered. All right, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is inconsistent. That is probably the biggest issue with this. If you want to actually be able to play the deck, you kind of have to draw either Red Rose or Rox Rose and some other thing that you can special summon using these monsters, right? A Vengeful Witch, a White Rose Dragon, a Kashtira, something of that nature, so that you actually get to play the game. The thing is, you're not always going to do that. And if you don't draw them, you basically don't get to do the combo, or make at least some sort of reasonable end board. You could sometimes make like some half boards depending on here or there, but there's a lot of combinations of cards that just like don't do anything together, but are very important for other combos, right? Like if you draw White Rose with no other Rose Dragons, it kind of doesn't do anything, right? If you draw only a bunch of tuners, that also doesn't do anything. If you draw all non-tuners, that also doesn't do anything. And it's very frustrating because you have to put the two pieces of the pie together. And you just, it's very difficult to do that, especially if you are getting hand traps as well. Like if you get Ashed or Impermed or something of that nature, the deck's just inconsistent. Most of the time, I was playing in very low ranks, so I'm not going to say like, oh, this is a crazy deck or anything. I don't necessarily know where this would specifically fit within the metagame, other than the fact that I noticed it was inconsistent, which means that likely it's not very good. But what I noticed is that oftentimes I would lose to my own inconsistency as opposed to anything my opponent did. Most of the time, I had the ability to play into established boards or what have you, if I had the original starting plays, right? If I actually had the ability to play the game, which wasn't always there. Adding in the Kashtira cards helped. I originally wasn't playing them and was instead playing, I don't know, non-engine, I guess. And for the most part, I felt like it was significantly better to just play more engine. So that's one of the downsides of this deck, is that you don't really have a lot of space for non-engine. As you see, I have 9 non-engine in here, 10 technically, because of Called By. But in 41 cards, it's basically all engine. And it kind of needs to be. I say kind of because you could play the Charmies. I'm not playing the Charmies, but you could play the Charmies, right? That still technically could work, and you could draw into the cards that you may need. But I don't know. You really want to be able to play the game going first. Because if the opponent even sets up a half board through some of the Molcharmies, it could be way too much. So for the most part, I felt like this deck was just, again, just inconsistent. And another issue that I had. I know I'm crapping on the deck right now. Stay with me. Another issue that I had with the deck was the fact that it wasn't really all that interesting. It feels like pretty much every other Synchro deck that we've seen, Super Heavy Samurai, Blackwing, Junk, etc., right? But it also feels very similar to kind of modern day fusion decks with like Draco Tail and what have you. So it doesn't really feel unique in any meaningful way. The big advantage that you have is the ability to play Black Rose, right? That is the purpose of playing this deck. And yeah, it comes up occasionally, but a lot of times you're also not even ending on a way to summon Black Rose, either due to the fact that the opponent interacted with you, so you didn't have the ability to go for that, or because things like Baron, Crystal Wing Synchro, Chaos Angel, etc., FA Dawn Dragster are just better, and it's not like you're getting locked into plants. Oftentimes you'll get locked into Synchros. For example, this card locks you into Synchros, right? But who cares? I'll just make Cafe Dawn Dragster. I'll just make this or that or the other thing. So, I don't know. It's not really an interesting idea. And this is where I find issue, is that they could have done something really cool. Because Black Garden is a really interesting card. Most of the time it's used for FTKs, which is silly. But I think the concept of giving the opponent a token is interesting, and I think they could have done something with that. Like, for example, you know, using the opponent's token monster to synchro summon. That could have been very interesting, especially like if it's like, oh, use the opponent's plant synchro monster to do something there, or centering around summoning out the level 5 Garden Rose Maiden, which, by the way, there is another one of the Garden Rose guys. It's another level 5, but you never summon it because it's level 5. How are you going to do that, right? It kind of relies on the opponent summoning a guy under Rose or Black Garden so that you can then have a level 2 that you can use with the Rose Dragons. It's just like an outdated concept. But it would be cool. I don't know. I think that there's a lot that they could do with this archetype that they just didn't. And it's kind of bland. I wish it wasn't, but it's kind of bland. That being said, if you like Akiza, or if you like the Synchro style decks that currently exist, like Blackwing, or like Junk, or any of those other style of Synchro decks, the deck does play very similar to that, and it's not unfun. It's actually pretty fun to play, to be fair. Like, I'm a big fan of Synchro monsters in general, and Synchro summoning decks I just find to be pretty enjoyable, so yeah, there's that. Also, if you like the combo decks utilizing plant monsters and what have you, this deck's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say in terms of, like, positive things, so I'm just going to end there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.